You're watching Gossip Canon, where we break down the biggest stories in entertainment. Subscribe and hit the bell so you're always up to date. They say Hollywood rewards talent, that if you win an Oscar, your career is unstoppable. So why did Matthew McConaughey vanish just after reaching the top? One minute he was delivering the performance of a lifetime in Dallas Buyers Club, snatching awards and critical acclaim. The next, he was quietly dropping off the radar, taking roles that bombed, showing up in projects no one watched, and eventually disappearing from the A-list altogether. But what if that wasn't a coincidence? What if it wasn't just bad scripts or career fatigue? What if someone or something wanted him gone? Because according to comedian Katt Williams, McConaughey didn't fade away. He was silenced, quietly pushed out by Hollywood's hidden power players. Not because he lost his edge, but because he refused to follow the rules. He wouldn't play the game, wouldn't bite his tongue, wouldn't let anyone control his voice, his values, or his career. And in an industry built on control, that's the one thing they can't tolerate. So what really happened to Matthew McConaughey? Why did his rise end in silence? And what secrets did he uncover before everything fell apart? Let's pull back the curtain. Before Hollywood ever got its hands on him, Matthew McConaughey was already built different. Born in a small Texas town in 1969, he didn't grow up surrounded by cameras or celebrity dreams. He grew up in chaos. His parents divorced twice and married each other again 3 times. The household was fiery, loud, and often violent. McConaughey has said plainly, to outsiders it probably looked like abuse. That kind of environment teaches you something. You learn how to read a room, how to stand your ground, how to survive without letting anyone own you. And for McConaughey, that lesson stuck. But the chaos at home wasn't the whole story. In his memoir Greenlights, he revealed personal trauma that shook even his most loyal fans. At 15, he says he was blackmailed into losing his virginity. Then, at 18, he was assaulted while unconscious in the back of a van. He didn't dramatize it. He didn't beg for sympathy. He told it flatly. Not the ideal way to lose your virginity, but it's how I lost mine. Most celebrities never say these things out loud, but McConaughey did, not to get clicks, but because it was his truth. And more importantly, it shaped who he became. Instead of spiraling, he hardened. He started seeing pain as purpose. He chose a different perspective. "I have a lot of proof the world is conspiring to make me happy," he once said. It sounds naive until you realize what he meant. He wasn't ignoring the darkness, he just refused to let it define him. And that unbreakable mindset, that refusal to be controlled, it would one day make him a star, and later make him a problem. But first, Hollywood had to fall in love with him. McConaughey didn't get handed fame, he chased it, hard. He was hustling jobs just to survive, washing dishes, working golf courses, serving drinks at a blues bar in Austin. No connections, no famous last name, just a kid with a dream and a relentless belief that he could make it. And then came Dazed and Confused. One improvised line, "All right, all right, all right," and Hollywood fell in love. That swagger, that charm, that smooth southern drawl, it was instant gold. Studios saw him as the perfect rom-com lead. Shirtless, tan, effortlessly likable, he played the part. The Wedding Planner, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Failure to Launch. He became the king of romantic comedies, and the checks were huge. But behind the scenes, he was miserable. He once admitted those roles paid for the beach house where he spent most days shirtless. But that wasn't a flex, it was a cage. He was being sold, packaged, and labeled. And he hated it. So he did the unthinkable. He walked away. One by one, he turned down every script Hollywood offered him. Even when the price tag hit $14.5 million, he still said no. For nearly 2 years, McConaughey vanished from the screen, not because he was struggling, but because he refused to keep playing the same role. He wasn't going to smile, flirt, and cash another check just to keep studios happy. Most actors would have killed for that kind of money. He torched it on purpose. And that's when Hollywood started watching him differently. For 20 months, Matthew McConaughey said no to everything. No to scripts, no to paychecks, no to playing the game. Instead, he went back to Texas, lived on his ranch, spent time with his wife, and made a quiet pact. I'm not going back to work unless I get the roles I actually want to do. And then, it worked. When he returned, it wasn't in another romantic comedy. It was in Mud, Killer Joe, and eventually Dallas Buyers Club, a film that nearly broke him physically but built him into something Hollywood hadn't seen before, a serious actor. He lost almost 50 pounds for the role, delivered a raw, haunting performance, and won the Academy Award for Best Actor. Just like that, the shirtless rom-com guy was gone. In his place, a man with depth, edge, and something to say, then came True Detective, an HBO series that showed just how far McConaughey could stretch, intellectually, emotionally, philosophically. It was like watching someone reborn on screen, darker, bolder, untouchable. The critics were in love. The audience couldn't look away. And for a brief moment it felt like McConaughey had broken the system, reinvented himself completely, beat the machine. But behind the scenes, not everyone was celebrating, because in Hollywood, when you rewrite the rules, someone always wants to rewrite you, and that's exactly what started to happen next. Winning an Oscar is supposed to unlock everything, but for Matthew McConaughey, it felt like the door slammed shut. After Dallas Buyers Club and True Detective, the offers didn't soar, they sank. Fast. Instead of prestige projects and Oscar-worthy scripts, McConaughey started getting handed movies that felt like setups, films that bombed, tanked, or never had a chance. In 2016 alone, his movie Free State of Jones flopped so hard it didn't even make back half its budget. The Sea of Trees booed at Cannes. Audiences walked out, critics trashed it. These weren't just bad choices, they were career poison, and they kept coming. One after another, McConaughey was offered scripts so offbeat or underfunded, they felt more like punishment than opportunity. And this wasn't a rookie struggling to find his lane. This was a recent Oscar winner, a man who had just proven he could dominate both box offices and award shows. So what changed? In his own memoir, McConaughey admits the offers started drying up. He'd reinvented himself, critically, spiritually, professionally, but suddenly no one seemed interested. The phone that used to ring off the hook? Silent. The media painted it as a slump, a cold streak, bad luck. But when you zoom out and look at the pattern, it starts to feel like something else entirely, something intentional. Because it wasn't just that Hollywood stopped calling, it's that it stopped trusting him. That's where Katt Williams enters the story, and suddenly everything starts making sense. For years, the outspoken comedian has warned the world about what really goes on behind Hollywood's curtain. He's called it out in interviews, in stand-up sets, in quiet moments no one expected to go viral. But the message never changed. There are gatekeepers, and they decide who gets in and who gets erased. According to Williams, McConaughey didn't fade away. He didn't age out. He didn't stop being talented. He just stopped being obedient. Williams believes there's a power structure in Hollywood that rewards silence, complicity, and submission. Step out of line, refuse to play the game, speak a little too much truth, you don't get a warning, you just stop getting roles. McConaughey didn't conform. He didn't suck up to executives or play the PR game. He didn't move to LA, chase attention, or smile for headlines. And more importantly, he spoke openly about trauma, about truth, about life outside the system, and that's what made him dangerous. As Katt put it, they tell you there are no gatekeepers, but we keep seeing the same people opening the gate. The gate opened wide for McConaughey when he played by their rules, shirtless, flirty, marketable. But when he walked away from that version of himself, the gate slammed shut, and the roles that followed, they weren't just beneath him, they were designed to bury him. But this kind of quiet exile, it isn't new, and it's not exclusive to McConaughey. McConaughey isn't the first. In fact, if you've been paying attention, you'll notice a chilling pattern, one that stretches far beyond rom-coms and Oscar speeches. Because in Hollywood, speaking out doesn't just make you unpopular, it makes you disposable. Take Brendan Fraser. He was one of the biggest stars of the early 2000s. The Mummy franchise made him a household name. But after he spoke out about being groped by the former head of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, his career mysteriously collapsed. The calls stopped, the scripts dried up, and Fraser, once a leading man, vanished from the spotlight. Was it a coincidence? He doesn't think so. He called the silence deafening. Then there's Rose McGowan. After she came forward about Harvey Weinstein, she wasn't hailed as a hero. She was blacklisted, shunned, silenced. Same for Monique, another Oscar winner. After refusing to promote Precious without extra pay, she was labeled difficult. She didn't vanish because she lost her talent. She vanished because she said no. It's always the same. Step out of line and the industry pulls the plug. Challenge the system and suddenly you're too complicated. Speak up and you're gone. And that's what makes McConaughey's case so disturbing. Because he wasn't accused of anything. He didn't attack anyone. He just stopped pretending. He stopped chasing approval. He stopped smiling for the cameras. He started talking about truth, trauma, and purpose. And in Hollywood, that might be the most dangerous move of all. Matthew McConaughey didn't just walk away from the industry's game. He challenged the rules that held it together. Over time, he became more than an actor. He turned into a kind of philosopher, someone who didn't just play roles, but questioned the meaning behind them. His speeches, interviews, even his Oscar acceptance weren't filled with buzzwords or studio-approved quotes. They were raw, spiritual, deeply personal. He talked about character over career, purpose over profit, living authentically, not artificially. And that message, it made people think. To fans, it was inspiring. To Hollywood's power structure, it was a problem. Because this industry doesn't thrive on authenticity. It thrives on illusion, on curated images, carefully crafted narratives, and control over who gets to rise and who's forgotten. McConaughey didn't just opt out, he told others to do the same. He said things like, "We need to make sure our ambitions aren't just about us. Don't chase applause, chase meaning." That kind of mindset doesn't just set you apart, it puts a target on your back. Even his infamous 1999 arrest, playing bongos naked while high in his own home, showed something deeper. When tabloids swarmed and late-night hosts made him the punchline, McConaughey didn't flinch. He didn't apologize. He didn't shrink. He said simply, "I was minding my own business in my own house." And that response, that calm refusal to be shamed or controlled, it told the industry everything they needed to know. This man couldn't be managed. He wouldn't fake headlines. He wouldn't play safe. He wouldn't trade authenticity for PR points. And in a system built to mold people into products, McConaughey became a liability. He didn't live in LA, didn't play the celebrity game, didn't chase trends or titles. He based himself in Texas and spoke from the gut. And the more honest he became, the more Hollywood pushed him out. So what really happened to Matthew McConaughey? Did he walk away, or was he quietly pushed out? Maybe the better question is, why do those things always seem to happen to the same kind of people? People who refuse to be puppets. People who don't play along. People who speak when they're supposed to stay silent. McConaughey had it all: fame, money, critical respect. And when he started using that platform to talk about something real, the offers stopped coming. Not because he failed, but because he didn't fall in line. Hollywood rewards predictability. It embraces those who smile for the cameras, hit their marks, and never ask questions. But McConaughey, he asked too many. He stepped off the script. He exposed the system, not in some scandalous tell-all, but simply by living his truth. And that's what makes his story so powerful and so dangerous. Because he didn't just rebel against the roles, he rebelled against the rules, and that's something the machine doesn't forgive. Now he lives quietly, in Texas, far from the spotlight. Still respected, still admired, but no longer on Hollywood's call sheet. Because in an industry built on image, McConaughey chose identity. In a business obsessed with applause, he chased meaning. And in a system that silences rebels, he spoke anyway. That's the real reason he disappeared, and that's the price of authenticity. And that's today's blast from the cannon. What do you think about all the drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read everything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you're first in line for the next celebrity explosion. This is Gossip Cannon, signing off, where the truth isn't just spilled, it's detonated.